Thank you, John. Yeah, my name is Michael Welker. My background is I had doctorate in theology and philosophy, and then did a postdoctoral work on Alfred North Whitehead, and this brought me into a strong interest in the interdisciplinary exchange between natural sciences. Whitehead is a mathematician and also partly amateur natural scientist, but with great insights, and he is very much interested in cultural evolution and the fact that in modernity we have a very strong concentration on mathematized science, and he is in favor of it as a mathematician and scientist, but he also says it comes with a price. It comes with a price that we lower the insights on the powers of religious, ethical, and aesthetic dynamics. And so he thinks a flourishing culture has to balance these forms. And I found this very illuminating. Let me say a few words first about forms of research, and then come back to three topics that John Polkinghorne already mentioned. In many ways has the John Templeton Foundation been creative and innovative in its support of the science and religion discourse. And I would like to name in the first instance Mary and Meyer's projects in the framework of the Humble Approach Initiative. These are one-shot or two-shot events leading to a book publication. And in each case, these events came with a very carefully selected topic and a carefully selected group of scholars. So I think this is crucial. The topical concentration, not just let's have dialogue as such. I like very much Beckett saying, are you merely interested in everything or also in something specific? And the Humble Approach initiatives were always specific. It was a specific, important topic, and it was the right selection of scholars who could contribute to this topic, not just interested in the dialogue, but really with expertise. And these events either stimulated the preparation of new research projects, or they supplemented previous projects of research. This is also a humble approach. In some cases, we had multi-year research events at the CTI, for example, in Princeton. And then we said, well, we still have this question open or that question open. And then the Templeton Foundation said, okay, then let's have this additional. And we had it on the resurrection or on kenotic love. And these were correlated with humble approach initiatives. One of the enormous strengths of the foundation is also its willingness to support projects at new frontiers of dialogue and even risky frontiers of dialogue. We had science and religion dialogue with colleagues from Russia and Greek Orthodox traditions, and this was not yet the case before. So we had the Spirit in Creation and New Creation. Some of you participated in this. Science and theology discourse in Orthodox and Western realms. We had a dialogue, also correlated with the Humble Approach Initiative, with the first generation of Pentecostal theologians interested in serious academic cooperation and exchange. This was new and innovative, and it was not that easy because it was not yet pre-styled. Yeah? So it was a new frontier that we opened up, and we also had, this was not with the Humble Approach, but with a different initiative. Paul Wasson supported this, Law and Love, Science and Theology Dialogue in China and the West. So the two first have already been published. The third will come up next year in 3 languages, in Chinese, in English, and in German. So these were very valuable events. We also had with Berkeley, with the CTNS, Ted Peters and Bob Russell, a seminal project on the resurrection, theological and scientific assessments, and this was also a follow-up on our eschatology meetings. So I think that this is most helpful in this world where you have research organizations with support more of the same. Yeah? So if you have already a successful research event, then you can go on. But if you say, well, let's try to do this dialogue at a frontier where we had not yet experiences, this is much more complicated. And here your foundation, in many cases, stepped in a very generous way. Now, in terms of topics, 3 areas in my realm of experience have been particularly successful. One is eschatology. We had a 5-year project at the CTI. We published a book, The End of the World and the Ends of God, Science and Theology and Eschatology, a very successful book, translated into Korean, now also in Chinese. So even after years, it does not only sell well in the English market, but we have more translations. And here the crucial point was, John Polkinghorne mentioned this already, that spiritual realities have to be realities in continuity and discontinuity with our real experiences. So eschatological realities are not fantasies. You see it with the religious symbol systems. They always emphasize continuity and discontinuity. New creation, new heaven, new earth, discontinuity. But they speak of new creation, heaven and earth, continuity. Flesh and blood will not inherit the reign of God, discontinuity, but we believe in the resurrection of the body, continuity. And this makes an interesting constellation. Many of you have participated in this fascinating process of discovery. We discover, we do not invent. That is crucial. And I think we all share this kind of critical and self-critical realism that we have to deal in these projects with discoveries, although very complicated discoveries. Because religions deal with gigantic problems. Very often we think our religion is just close-up experience, me and my inner life. Think of the biblical canon. It's always under global power. Egypt, Assur, Babel, the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans. Global power are present, and our little religious and historical tradition is endangered. Then second, the insight, our institutions and our traditions in the way we received it that far do not help us. So these are situations where you normally say, hopeless, helpless. And then there is this insight, spiritual powers, soft emergent powers, wisdom, love, spirit, the reign of God, the spiritual body of the resurrection, complicated realities, but complicated realities that you can explore. And I think we very much stuck to these topics that Michael Murray mentioned yesterday: new spiritual information, theological progress, fundamental laws of reality, ultimate reality. These topics, we dealt with these topics, but in specific contexts. And one of the boundaries we are still wrestling with is the topic of the spiritual body. So the ancient cultures knew very well your body is mind and spirit loaded. Something in the way she moves, how he looks, how we laugh. And the body is already highly loaded by mind and spirit. But also the other way around. And what is it, the spiritual body that the resurrection accounts a witness to? So we have a complicated interference of natural culture and religious phenomena and processes. And we are working on that. And the most fruitful area, the second area that already John also mentioned, was the area of anthropology. And with the help of the Templeton Foundation, we had a 5-year project where we could explore a multidimensional approach. And we were very grateful because your normal policy was 1 or 2 short events. And we said we had these good experiences with 4 or 5 meetings. At the CTI, also with William Schweiker and Lilly Foundation, we had 2 multi-year projects. And we said, please move beyond your policy, because if you want to change the minds, you need more than 1 or 2 events. If you want just to present the best insights that the individual scholars had, 1 or 2 short events are fine. But if you really want to have an impact on each other's mind, you need more meetings. And we had experiences in this place, in Cambridge, and other places. First event, if you have a carefully selected group, enthusiasm. Second meeting, I always call this the Tower of Babel meeting. Then you come together and you have now elaborated your paper, and you see we are in different areas. We are talking different languages, methods, and so on. And sometimes we had this, oh, I'm not in this group. And then you have to be very, very careful, not just to have, oh, this is the solution. Then half of the scholars disappear. No, you have to build small bridges. Yeah? To say, oh, here I see this possibility, there we see this potential for cooperation, here we see complementarity, and so on. Then the third meeting, you get growth and coherence, and then the joy sets in. But you need these 3, 4 meetings, sometimes in complicated cases. 5, don't go beyond that, because then the scholars get a little too relaxed, yeah, and we want to press good activities. But we had such a meeting in a multidimensional anthropology, and we made wonderful discoveries. Flesh, body, heart, mind, soul, reason, conscience, spirit. What a picture. We were greatly helped by Pauline anthropology. This was an interesting discovery, that the genius of Paul helps us to really develop a spreadsheet in anthropology where you can deal in a very realistic way with the multidimensional capacities of the human person. And we also want to continue to work on that. Memory theories are an important topic, embodied cognition, and above all, evolutionary anthropology in dialogue with other areas of exploring evolutionary processes. Your contribution last night, you know, so we have to work on different types, subatomic, anthropological, cultural evolutions to explore these complex processes of multifunctional interaction. So this is the area where we hope to gain new insights, and we trust. We gained already so many good insights that we are confident that this will continue. And the third area was concepts of law. In science, legal studies and theology, the first time that we got the law scholars into the discourse. This was the most complicated discourse we had been in.
Absolutely.
Yeah? This was very, very complicated because different types of thinking, and was very, very complicated to bring us to one table, although we all talked about law in theology and science and in legal studies. But we also covered some ground, and I think this also led to new insights into fundamental laws of reality and the ultimate reality. And so here you see 3 areas where we made progress. This book we will also publish. It was also supported by the Templeton Foundation. Next year, the Anthropology and the Law book will come out. But we also see new frontiers where we can design carefully new research projects to make further progress on these areas of insight. So eschatology, law, and anthropology, these are, I'm sure others in this group have other fascinating topics, but here we clearly see these are avenues of, to use a word of Whitehead, adventures of ideas, which are not just adventurous, but also promising in discovering new and deeper realities. Thank you very much.